Did you really think, Aina, that I had forgotten you? Those 8 words, whispered in a dark corner of a crowded wedding hall, froze time. Aina stood in her heavy red bridal wear, her hands trembling, as tears welled up in her eyes. She turned around abruptly to face the ghost of her past, Zayan. The man who had vanished 3 years ago without a single trace. The man she thought had moved on, was standing right behind her on the day she was meant to marry someone else. How did a love so quiet end up in a moment so intense? To understand that, we have to go back to the very beginning. Some people don't enter our lives like a thunderstorm. They arrive like the very first drops of rain, quietly, slowly molding the earth into their own color. Aina and Zayan's story was exactly like that. No grand confessions, no dramatic promises. Just a quiet togetherness that deepened with every passing day. Zayan was always a man of few words. He never made grand speeches, but whenever Aina worked late into the night, a hot cup of tea would appear at her desk unasked. Whenever she felt weighed down by the world, Zayan would simply sit beside her, no questions asked, no explanations needed. It was a love felt not through words, but through an undeniable presence. One evening, exhausted from work, Aina looked at him and asked, "Zayan, why do you never say anything? Why are you always so quiet?" Zayan looked deep into her eyes and replied softly. "Loud relationships burn out quickly, Aina. The feelings that run deepest never need words to prove themselves." Days bled into months, and months turned into years. For Aina, Zayan had become the anchor of her existence. She couldn't even picture a future that didn't have him in it. But fate had entirely different plans. Just when you begin to feel that your world is complete, the story takes its darkest turn. One day, Zayan simply vanished. No letter left behind, no phone call, no goodbye message. He disappeared as if he had never existed in this world at all. Aina searched for him everywhere. She questioned his friends, visited every place he used to haunt, but found not a single clue. With every passing sunrise, her heart shattered a little more. A single question echoed endlessly in her mind. Did he really forget me that easily? Sitting by her bedroom window, watching the rain streak down the glass, she would whisper to herself. "If you had to leave, Zayan, couldn't you at least tell me what my fault was? You told me deep feelings don't need words, so tell me, is this silence part of your love too?" Time waits for no one. 3 long years passed by. 3 years is usually enough time to heal old wounds, but for Aina, those 3 years were a slow torment. She felt completely hollow inside, as if all color had been drained from her life. When her family finally arranged her marriage, Aina didn't fight it. When your heart is already broken into pieces, it no longer matters who you spend the rest of your life with. The wedding preparations began. Bright lights, floral arrangements, smiling relatives, but amidst all the noise, Aina sat perfectly still, like a lifeless doll. She had convinced herself that Zayan was just an unfinished chapter of her past. She accepted that he had forgotten her and moved on. Standing in front of the mirror on her wedding day, dressed in her heavy bridal wear, she let out a cold sigh and said, "Starting today, I won't wait for you anymore, Zayan. Starting today, you are nothing more than a dream, one that was never meant to come true." What Aina didn't know was that silence doesn't always mean betrayal. Sometimes, behind the quietest disappearances lies the greatest sacrifice. For 3 long years, Zayan was trapped in a desperate struggle far away, fighting his way through a crisis where surviving was a daily battle. He had refused to return until he could give Aina the future she deserved, holding on solely to his unspoken promise. And now, he was back. Aina stood frozen in that quiet corner of the hall, her breath caught in her throat. A storm of fear, disbelief, and intense love crashed over her all at once. Zayan stood right in front of her. His face looked exhausted, marked by time, but his eyes carried the exact same deep, unwavering love. Tears streamed down Aina's cheeks instantly. Voice cracking with anger and overwhelming relief, she asked, Where were you all these years, Zayan? Do you have any idea what I went through? Zayan took a step closer. Tears welled up in his eyes, but a soft smile broke through as he said. I told you once, Aina. The feelings that run deepest never need words. I spent every single day, every breathing moment, living only for you. He slowly pulled a worn-out item from his coat pocket. It was Aina's old diary. And resting right on top of it was a simple silver ring. Some loves are bound neither by time nor by distance. In the middle of a crowded wedding hall, amidst all the expectations of the world, two hearts had returned to the exact spot where their story first began.